I've told people this for decades. Hardest part of every single workout ever is getting to the gym. The moment you go through the doors, it's pretty much all good.
Yeah.
But taking that time to make the drive to get to the gym, hardest part.
Today's guest is Jim Brown, founder of Brown's Gym in Clark Summit and a powerhouse in the world of strength sports. A 9-time USA national champion and multi-time international competitor, Jim has spent decades building not only his own legacy, but also coaching athletes from first-time lifters to world champions. In this episode, Jim shares what it really means to go all in on your training, your purpose, and the life you want to build.
When you guys are competing, most of your competition, the bigger competition, is always a long flight somewhere,
God,
right?
Yes.
How do you, the one thing, it's one thing when you travel for work, your body feels run down, you're adapting, but you don't have to, your body doesn't necessarily
You don't have to be 100% when you get there physically, yeah.
So how does that, do you go out planning out, hey, this is a real long trip, so I'm going to go out 4 days ahead of time, or?
Honestly, I need 7 to 8 days of being there just to even get close.
Yeah, 7, 8 days. So just going to a competition becomes a 10-day commitment.
Which works out because anymore, when we do these contests, we're gone 16 days when we go to these things.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when you get there, I assume they have the facilities for you to keep your body at that level.
They tell you they're going to.
And it's probably waiting in lines for machines, or not machines, but for racks.
When we go to these international meets, when we go to the Open World Championships, the warm-up areas, which is where we'd go to work out at, are phenomenal. But the last couple of years when we went to the Masters World Championships,
yeah,
you got to set up in a hallway in a hotel room.
Really?
When I finally get a chance to work out, I'm literally in the middle of the hallway. Yeah, it's kind of degraded.
You must be good at it, though.
Balance it
because you just won another championship, right?
Yeah, that was my 9th national championship.
Trouble, I've been in my depth for the piece of the puzzle, I got it for real. Still keep me going, I wake up and hustle. You won't see me buckle, I've been in the field. Man of the town, you been in the field, but just this crown. Call me your majesty, either that or your tragedy. We shutting everything down. Never been high, let somebody put a candle on. All the time, I don't really stand in opponents, this mine. The moment is, right now there's not much pen on it. No game, I got some skills, bar one, y'all done. They giving the coffee.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Does it get old?
I'm getting
After 9, my gosh.
Get old? No, but you definitely get better at it. You definitely get better at your preparation for contests, especially at that level. You're at the elitist level you're going to get to, and you walk through it like it's a breeze because you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know how to structure your training cycles to get them to come out and peak at the correct times. And I hit weights there on 3 out of 3 lifts. I hit squat, bench, and deadlift for weights I never even touched in training.
Really?
Didn't need to.
You're just amped up.
You
You
just
just
know
knew.
your
Well, it's not even amped up. Frankly, I really don't do the whole psych up thing, but I just know what to do. And we just run the mesocycles out, and they come out right on the number we targeted before we started the training cycle.
Do you think that you've got that dialed in now? Do you think that your experience gives you a tremendous advantage?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The knowledge of what we know today and the lack of wasted movements that we don't have to do. And frankly, I'm too old to have that much energy for wasted movements.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, I want to dive into a question. I was looking at your Facebook page, and is it okay if we grab a couple pictures from your page or whatever?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. There was an interesting thing. I think you reposted it. I don't know, maybe it was 2021 or something. And I thought, man, I definitely want to ask you about that. It was about you just won, I think it was a national competition. And you said it wasn't the same because another guy who was like your nemesis, you guys competed against each other, had passed away.
Yeah, he had passed away a number of years before.
Okay.
So he had actually passed away the year I won my very first ever national championship.
Okay.
And I would have never beat him. Like, I would have never won a national championship without him passing away. And I thought it was important to, I guess, admit that.
Yeah.
I don't think it meant anything to anybody else, but I don't know where I was going with this.
So
it was important to me to say it because he was such a phenomenal competitor. We never spoke to each other, but we didn't dislike each other. We just never spoke to each other.
Yep.
I don't think, his name was Craig Terry, and I don't think we ever had 10 words amongst each other ever.
Yeah. I bet you had a
But my
lot of
respect-
looks.
But my respect level for him was that high that I wrote my programming around him on what I needed to do to beat him.
Oh, wow.
And he and I, we probably broke the American record and took it from each other on the squat probably a dozen times.
Aw.
He'd break it, I'd go out and break it. He'd go out and break it, I'd go out and break it. We were just all over each other on it. He'd go out and pull a world record just for the fun. It was like, I was done on your third warm-up.
I feel like there's like a Marvel story in here or something, like where you have your nemesis. There's,
I know.
where you don't know each other. I have that in business. I have some peers that I used to view as my nemesis or my opponents, and now I view them as peers.
Yeah.
As you get older, I think you have a different, it's like a respect level for each other too.
I think there's things you have to admit that when you're getting your ass handed to you by somebody, you've got to at some point sit back and watch. What do they know? What do they do that I'm not doing? And you start to learn things from them. And frankly, I think that part is what develops the respect for that person as you start to learn what they were doing. And I think that's just a part of the maturity of that.
Mm.
And I think if you find yourself not taking the time to learn what your opponent's doing, shame on you. Yeah, you didn't do the best you could do.
Yeah.
You didn't admit to yourself that what you're doing wasn't working and didn't go try to find a better way. Just because
Right.
your
That's
opponent
where-
had thought of it.
It's
Yeah.
like comparison is the thief of joy. So if you're just constantly comparing yourself in a way that isn't going to
Yeah.
better you and that you're
The
open
thief
to
of
learning.
joy.
Yes.
I'm going to steal that.
Oh, I'm stolen from somebody. I don't know who
She drops
said
a
it
lot of
for-
cool stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it just goes out of my head the next day.
I won't remember. You.
Major life and business changes can really shake things up for worse, and sometimes, I believe, for the better. As a certified neuro coach, I know that when we are in an area of transformation in our lives that we did not choose, or maybe we did, we're bumped up against our comfort zone. And when that happens, our subconscious mind gets louder and tries to pull us back to where we feel safe. But I know as a certified neuro coach that this is the perfect time to take this transformation and turn it into something that you desire, something that you want. This is the perfect time to rewire those old limiting beliefs that have gotten in your way, and let's break free from that in this time of transformation and make it work for you. Let's turn this into a magical moment. I would love to hear from you. You can book a call on my website at mariaconaglero.com. Let's make this transformation last.
I want to know, there's so much that I want to know about mindset and how that plays a role in both competitions and health in general and business. And do you think it's all aligned?
Short answer, yes, I do. I think you're all one and the same. You guys have been in business long enough now that you realize your confidence in your knowledge is so much higher now than it was when you were younger. When you first go into business, I don't know how any of us ever makes it through our first 5 years of being in business because I made so many mistakes. I was so stupid at the time. I got away with it on my sheer ability and willingness to work for nothing, I think. And I survived my own mistakes because of that part. And I think the same thing happens with fitness and in competition. You make so many mistakes in the beginning. And you start over time putting that stuff together, getting your timing issues straightened out. You start learning about how to control the mesocycles in training. You start learning how to stop getting injured. Every time you get injured, you have to go back to the beginning again. And now you're even deeper in the hole than that because you have to get healed first before you can get back to the beginning to start all over again. So learning how to keep that injury bug away is a big part of it. And your confidence in knowing, don't do that, that will break me. Every time I try this, I end up in the same spot, broken.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn not to do those things anymore. And I think the same thing happens in business. You learn who you can trust. You start to get a circle of people that you have confidence in sharing information with. Like you, especially when you're trying to do a new project for business, in the beginning, you make too many mistakes of telling people that you thought were going to be helpful and making you successful at pulling off this new thing you're trying to do for business. And turns out they ran their mouth about something to somebody and got into the rumor mill before you got to start it and ruined the whole project before you even got there. Or your opponent got a hold of the information before you got to complete the job and they got it completed before you did. So yeah, I think they're all related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make you optimistic or pessimistic over time? I was just, you seem like an optimistic guy, but maybe.
I would say cautiously optimistic. You
I've
seem
always
like-
been, I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
My wife hates me in the morning because I wake up in the morning, I'm happy.
How do we do that?
I don't know. And I've always tended to trust people way too much.
Yeah.
And,
That's right, yeah.
And my wife and I've had this conversation over and over again about this stuff. And frankly, I'm unwilling to give up that part of myself, but I've still learned to be a little more cautious about my circle of people I trust is a little smaller than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make it tiny, but it's smaller than it used to be.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I feel like that. This sounds really like a depressing way to say this, but I feel like people change my expectations of them only to the downside. But it's because I usually start them out high. Because I'm an optimistic person. I'm going to assume you're a wonderful person until you prove you're not. There's probably people that go through life completely the opposite. I don't like to be around those people.
No, I don't want to be around them.
You coached my son for a while.
Yes.
And he absolutely loved the entire time that he spent
Yes.
with you. And when he was in school, going all the way through all his sports history, right, through being a kid, every coach would tell me, your son is the most coachable guy on the field.
Yes.
And so when I saw what he was doing with you, I'm like, Jim probably loves him because you were, what I really liked about your system is
he's like programming a computer. I punch the data in, it comes
it's
back
insane.
out.
Yeah, and he's a rare find. But the most important thing was something triggered in his brain. I still don't know what it was. And he was like, I'm going to the gym. And he did that on a regular, just a leisurely kind of thing, but he was committed and he started to grow.
Right.
And then something clicked and he goes, I want to go to the next level. That's when he went and he talked to you. And all of a sudden he's going to Brown's gym. Jim's giving me these spreadsheets of all these and do this. And it's like reverse engineering.
Right.
Hey, Aiden, this is where you want to, here's what you got to do. Here's the time frame to do it. Just basically go to the gym every day and do the work. And I think that's what's really unique about what you do every day.
It really is reverse engineering. I literally sit down with a calendar and count it out backwards from contest day back to where we are at this moment.
Okay.
And I set up the mesocycle from contest backward.
What is that? What does that mean?
So the body can't hit a peak percentage and stay there. The body's going to go up in a wave of strength. And then when you get to the top of that peak, it's going to crash. So that's this cycle.
Okay.
So we run it on mesocycles where we're running it up and down, but each time we're running it up and down, it's getting a little higher up each time. And the down is a little less down each time. So we're progressing you into heavier weights, getting you ready for contests.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's literally staying calm under pressure.
Oh yeah. Earlier I had said something to you guys about I don't do the psych up thing.
Yeah.
You'll find that's very amateurish when you see the international elite stuff. So the psyching up to me is you're afraid of this weight. You're already halfway defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even get on a bar yet. You're already afraid of it.
Yeah.
So confidence allows you to not have to get psyched up.
So we won't see you on deck, like slapping your face or anything like
Nope,
that?
never. I walk out on a platform and I do this pretty much just because I think it's funny. But I walk out on stage, I'm singing Rubber Duckies, I'm walking out on the stage.
Rubber Ducky.
The spotters and the loaders are all looking at each other.
Hey, whatever. Mindset is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
I know when I'm lifting, if I'm telling myself, this is hard, this sucks, this is too heavy, I will not get the reps that I want to get. But if I tell myself I've got this,
The old adage, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love working
Yeah.
out. It's one of my favorite things. And I love to push myself farther than I think I'm capable of going, because I feel like when I prove to my body that I can do that, it
Yeah.
shows up elsewhere, like in business, when you're faced with business
Agreed.
challenges, which come up
Yep.
regularly. That belief is huge.
So how did you go from doing what's really a passion, a hobby, a pastime, to not just competing, but also owning a gym? Did you just do it because you needed a place to work out personally?
No, first of all, I started doing this when I was 11 years old. Dave and Miriam Kaufman bought me one of those Sears 110-pound DP barbell sets
Oh, yeah.
when I was 11 years old. The Incredible Hulk was on TV.
Aw.
So Lou Ferrigno was on in this. And I'm literally the smallest kid in school. You know when they line you up for your class pictures and they line you up by height? Yeah, me and Mike Boner were always 1 and 2.
Aw.
And when we got the seniors in high school, Mike Boner was number 2 and I was number 1. So I was we were literally the smallest kids in school.
He really shot up, huh?
Yeah, he was about a half inch taller than me.
It matters. It matters.
So I started lifting as a kid, and there's no athletes in my family. Nobody in the family competed in anything. We're born and raised on a dairy farm. We're 3:30 in the morning milking cows every day. We get home from school straight to doing chores. So it wasn't that it was ever born in us to do, but it was something I loved early on. And I don't know if it's the drive because I was so small. I don't know. But I'm not talented. Don't throw anything at me because I'm just going to pick it up off the ground after you threw it at me. I probably can't throw it back to you. This didn't require talent or team sports. I wasn't letting someone else down if I messed up. It was just me crawling under something and pushing it. Just turns out I was getting pretty good at it. And as I got older, got out of high school, I kept it up. And you go through that same scenario everybody goes through. You get out of school, you go get a job, and you eventually get to the point where you're trying to start a family and you bought a house and all that stuff. So I did all the job thing. I went through several jobs before I got to good one. I worked at Procter & Gamble for a while. Procter & Gamble was good to me in a sense that it made me realize I am a horrible employee. I want to run everything.
Oh.
And you people suck at it, and I could do this better than you.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But they didn't see it that way because they already had bosses.
Yeah.
So before I got fired, I left.
We all have bosses.
Yeah.
Procter & Gamble woke me up on that I needed to go. Actually, it was a gentleman here from Tunkhannock. Oh, my God. I can't think of his last name off the top of my head. I guess I can. Ed Odinsky.
Okay.
And I say this with confidence. I think Ed would be proud of it. I don't know if he knows how much he changed it. But I got taken in for a talking to about how I needed to write a personal development plan on how I was going to make myself more likable by my fellow employees.
Wow.
And I remember sitting down, and it was third shift, which is sucky day to be doing this kind of thing anyway.
Right.
And I remember coming out of this after I sat for a couple hours writing this personal development plan that just made me grit my teeth the whole time. And I come out of that office, and I was mad at the world. And Ed Odinsky grabbed me. I didn't even see him do this, but as I'm walking by one of the machines, and it's loud up there. As I'm walking by the machine, he reaches out, grabs me by the back of the neck, and pulls me back in behind this machine. And he said, "Look it. The rest of us need this job. We don't have any choice. But you're meant to go do something else." And at that moment, Ed had the wisdom to put me over on a quality station so I didn't kill anybody. And I went over there and I sat down and I drew out the plans for Brown's Gym.
Wow.
By the way, I did a really lousy job of watching quality that day.
So your personal development plan was actually
Yeah, this was my plan on how to get the hell out of
I
here.
don't think that's what they meant, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's funny though.
I don't know if they really missed me.
Aw.
I highly doubt it. Yeah. So Ed Odinsky is the reason we have Brown's Gym.
Thanks, Ed.
That's great.
So Dave and Miriam Kaufman are why I lift weights, and Ed Odinsky is why we own a gym.
I go to your gym, and I know about 7-8 months ago, you just totally changed everything,
Yeah,
brought
remodeled
in
the whole thing. Yes.
all new equipment,
Yep.
remodeled, moved things around, painted. I love the aesthetic.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did that come about? I know that was a big investment.
So it's more than that. It's a big investment at a time in life when I should probably not be thinking about doing that. I'll be 60 here this summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a big enough investment that I'm taking a 10-year loan to do it. That makes me 70 when it's paid off. I only had 3.5 years or so left on the lease. So I had to walk in before I could borrow the money and re-sign the lease for the 10 years, at least have the lease cover the length of the loan. And that puts me at 70 years old when we get to the end of that. And that was a major part of the decision. Did I want to go that far? And we sat and talked about that a lot.
I bet.
We knew we needed to do something different. We were watching what the world was turning to for gyms. We knew what direction I wanted it to go. I was more interested in developing more of a super gym than being a gym for everyone. We got rid of the aerobics and stuff like that years and years ago, and all that kind of stuff that was faddish. I hated those parts of the business anyway. I knew which part of the business I loved, and it's taken me a lot of time and a lot of courage to just say no to the rest of the world and all the fads and just get it to what I really wanted it to be. And you see what happened to the growth of us when I finally got enough courage to do what I really wanted it to be. But that factor of that I'm going to be 70 when this comes to fruition was nearly enough to stop us from doing it. And like I said, we conversed about that a lot. And there's some people around that I look up to a lot, and one of them would be Don Sherwood. I don't know how old Don is now. He's got to be 84, 85. And I see him bebopping around the business over there. He's in his overalls because he just came out of the barn taking care of his horses to come down to the dealership. And it made me realize, it made me think about why he does that. And it finally occurred to me that he does it because he didn't work this hard this long to be unimportant. And I had to face reality that I don't want to be unimportant. I don't want to be nobody to it. And so I signed.
Yeah.
That's a super thing. Go ahead,
Yeah, I was going to say, like, your day-to-day, though, is pushing yourself to excellence. I
Yes.
couldn't imagine you spending 10 years staying the same. That doesn't seem like in alignment with who you are as a person.
I've always managed to just evolve to whatever was coming next. I was always, I don't know if I thought about it on purpose or not. I can't say that I did. But as I saw business needed to evolve into something else, I did it. If I needed to evolve into something else, I did it. I think it's more of a willingness to survive than it was a strategy thing to get ahead in business, just trying to survive. And I don't see that being any different just because I'm getting older. I think if anything, at this point, I find myself trying to evolve faster because I learned from my mistakes of trying to sit still too long because I wasn't sure. Today, I'm more confident in myself in this just has to happen because this is where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And now we're to the point where that may not be where things are going yet because of directive of the outside world. It may be it's going to go there because I said it's going to go there. And we've been willing to make those changes because I've said I'm willing. This is where I want it to go.
I have so many things I want to talk to you about. I just find it really interesting. In today's world, it's a great time, I would think, to be a gym owner because on Instagram, I watch a lot of that, and I just see it's
super
for people
popular
to be posting videos of themselves doing whatever they're achieving at the gym.
Yes.
Probably also extremely annoying to some other people.
Yeah, I love it and I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
it has become very popular to be in shape, to be a power lifter, to be whatever it is that they're going for and and their journey on that path. It's super. It seems like a really neat time. I love that you're tweaking it to what you want it to be.
Yes.
And it almost tells It's like an illustration, or it's proof that you should follow your heart and your mind and get there.
Yes.
The faster you can get there, but you still have to do those steps along the way. Otherwise, you'll probably fail. But maybe you could have sped it up a little bit, right?
Yes, I find now I have the ability to speed it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
When I was younger, this is the way it's always been done.
Yeah.
And you fall into that rut. And when I very first was going into business, I got the best piece of advice, and I didn't forget it, but I didn't listen to it. Frank Peffer, who owned Peffer's Gym down in Scranton, was one of the real pioneers of bodybuilding. He was one of the first people to ever be an IFBB judge. Like, he was that high up, and here he owns this little gym in Scranton and nobody even knew. But he also built equipment. So the only equipment I ever worked out on was Peffer equipment. So when I was going into business, I ordered equipment from Frank Peffer. And I had heard a couple other gyms were going to start up, and Frank says to me, he says, Jimmy, don't ever look at anybody else's business. Just look at your own. And at some point when you're in business, you get caught up in looking at everybody else's stuff.
Sure.
And if I just listened to Frank and stop looking and just get my nose to the grindstone and just dig away at what I was doing, I'd have been better off. And to this day, the first piece of information I was given on it is still my most crucial piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about, I don't know where your gym was before it was there.
You know where Perez Construction is at the top of the hill?
Yeah.
That was my first location.
All right.
And Perez added onto it by taking the second piece beside it, so it wasn't even as big as it is now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But where you are now is it's like a landmark people use. You know
It
where
is.
Brown's
Yes.
Gym is? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just past that on the left or
Yep.
something like that. That's a move. Like that's the courage to, you must have I don't know, 3-4x your size, your floor space.
Stupidity is bliss.
There you go. You said it, I did. Yeah. I think you have to have a little stupidity.
I was in a scenario where, and I'm dropping a lot of names here, but these names were important to me in the growth of how we got to where we're at. About 1990, late 98, 99, early 99 maybe. There was a guy named Al Marahovich had opened a little place in Scranton selling supplements called Muscle Mag. And I'm watching this business just blow up. I've never seen a business grow like this. And he's already surpassed me. I've been in business 6-7 years at that point, and he's already surpassed me in 18 months. But I'm buying product from him, so I know him. And I call Al up, said, "What are you doing down there?" He says, "I have a business coach." I said, "Who's your business coach?" So he tells me the guy's name. He says, "But he's not going to take you because he doesn't take businesses of like kinds."
And he's already got the gym.
Yeah, Al didn't have a gym. Al had a supplement store.
Okay.
But he's selling gym equipment and supplement store. So Al goes to bat for me with his business coach and gets his business coach to come to us. So inside of having this gentleman as our business coach, we quadruple in population in months.
Wow.
So I have outgrown this facility so badly. And at that time, I was down in Chinchilla. You know where the water treatment plant is? Those 3 white buildings?
Mm-hmm.
I was in one of them. And I'd already taken up 10,000 square feet of this thing, and we are packed to the gills. And it's got the worst parking lot. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And I get lucky in the old McCrory's, which is where I'm at now, goes out of business. Happens to be the same landlord. So I'm able to get out of the lease I'm in to go to this other lease, to this bigger space, because it's the same landlord to the same landlord.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the only reason I was able to get that. That place was a disaster. It was a disaster when we got it. McCrory's didn't put a dime in it ever. They'd been going out of business for 20 years. They'd have done they'd been better off to the world if they'd have left 20 years earlier. That building took a lot of help. And Andrew Weinberger, who owned the building, gave me that lease on that bigger building for the identical price I was in with the smaller building.
Wow.
Really?
But I was putting a couple $1 million in his building.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how we did it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was going to be that damn expensive. until after we were well started into it and the contractors had screwed up on the bids they gave us and didn't cover everything they needed. And now you're already unbelievably financially committed, and now you're going way deeper in the hole. And that took us a lot of years to dig our way out of those mistakes that were made there.
Yeah.
But yeah, being
Wow.
stupid is bliss.
Sometimes you power through it.
That's how you get through it. If you had known, you wouldn't have done it.
I would not have done it.
A little bit of a change of topic here is I feel like leadership can be lonely.
Oh boy, yeah.
And what I think is really interesting, I like the player coach concept, like NFL. A lot of good, successful coaches. Dan Campbell for the Detroit Lions. Everybody loves him as a coach. They love to play for him because they know he's been there.
We're going to win, yeah.
And I think, I'm assuming, and I only personally know it through my son's attitude going through your training with, is that the folks that are following your program and going to your gym, even if they're not going for powerlifting stuff, they enjoy the fact that you're in the game.
Yeah.
And my question is, I thought about this last night knowing I was going to speak to you, and I don't even know how to do the research. I don't even know if AI could find this answer for me, but I don't know if I've really heard many stories other than Sherpas and guides of people who have climbed Mount Everest twice. So you go and you do what you do and you get to nationals. And then you do it again.
Yes.
And then you do it again.
Yes.
Was it 7 times?
Nine times? Yeah. I've won 9. I've probably been in 20.
Wow.
So other than the bragging rights between you and Janelle of who's got more and who's won what is it that it's something else driving you? And that's what I really would love. Do you know the answer
when
to that?
I'm dead on my gravestone, it better say world champion.
So that's it. That's your Everest. So you still got another summit to climb.
Yep.
Okay. And honesty to yourself, do you think it's attainable?
I don't know.
It's a fair answer.
So I'm literally in the toughest weight class there is. I'm in a 93 kilo weight class. It is where the largest number of people in population of athletics are going to be. There's more of us at that size than there are at super heavyweights, and that there are at 59 kilos.
Okay.
There's 4 less of them on those two ends of the spectrum than there are in the center. So I'm in the largest weight class because I'm in the center, which means you're going to find the largest number of phenomenal athletes in that weight class. I could have dropped down a weight class and won multiple world championships by now. I could have moved up a weight class and won multiple world championships by now. But I don't run.
Okay.
I'm going to sit there and pick the fight. And I'm going to beat the best there is to beat. And I thought this year was going to be my year. But a gentleman named Jan Majuria out of Poland came out of retirement. Jan and I are within 30 days of each other in age. And he's doing the same thing. We're going to be toe-to-toe for that world record on the squat. I can definitely hang with him on a deadlift, but he's gonna crush me on that bench press. Unless my shoulders do something miraculous between now and October. So I don't think this is my year to win one either. But I will have competed against the absolute best there's ever been on every level, win or not.
Wow.
And I don't want to say that's enough for me, but because it's not. I still want that world championship, but I want to do it against the best there's ever been.
I'm such a dork to admit this, but I've always been a fan of the Survivor show, Survive. Yeah. And I think that the motto, or at least it's on their logo, is outplay, outwit, and outlast. And I feel like that last one, like this guy's like in your age. And I think as long as you stay healthy, you stay smart, like you're saying with your training. And I'm sure they know those secrets of the trade as well at that point of the game.
They do. I guess there's a little difference on that for me versus the other athletes. So the other athletes were not as deeply committed as I was or Janelle was into doing what we do. So what I mean by that is not that they trained less, but they had a job doing something else. One of my good friends and competitors, he's a retired engineer. He was an engineer. He wasn't lifting weights. He wasn't building everything around that. I built everything. I probably have more years spent in thinking about improvement, how to train the nervous system to make the nerve signal travel faster. I've spent more years with that kind of stuff than they've ever even read about. I've developed entire training principles that lots of them all use. All the kids that Aiden, all are under principles that were mine. These are things I made up through studies that I did, through people I wore out. Sorry. People I may have broken. They didn't do that stuff. They spent an 8-hour day building a building someplace or something like that.
Right.
I spent the 8 hours a day working on that stuff. So I think there's a different level of commitment to it because I made my entire world about that and not the 2 or 3 hours I was at the gym. So every aspect of it, like we never let up on it.
So as your wealth builds, so does the amount of pressure that surrounds you, right? Maybe your income is still higher than ever and your business has more revenue than ever, but you're also thinking about your family, your employees and their families, debts that you need to pay off, taxes that you want to minimize, cash flows to track, all while trying to stay excellent at your job and innovative within your industry. Our team at Stonehouse helps you manage your personal wealth, whether it's in your retirement plan, your business, or any other place. While you're busy out there conquering the world and trying to take care of others, don't forget about taking care of yourself. Contact Stonehouse to see how we can help make your life better. I wanted to ask you, competitiveness.
Yes.
It's a big part of your DNA.
Oh, yeah.
Can it be, do you find in some spots of your life it's a weakness?
Never.
No?
Never.
You don't find yourself ever being competitive, like for the wrong reasons or anything like that? Or...
No, I don't.
Okay. Me neither then.
And I find it a little empowering in some other places because I get myself into situations where I can decide not to be competitive. And I can let the other person have this. And in the end, that typically turns out to be a win-win. I gave them, they got what they wanted for the moment. And I got them to like me for something that I needed to have them like me for. So I get to decide to let them win on something if I want to. But if I want to beat them, I'm beating them.
Nice. The other thing you
I'm
said...
not an asshole.
That comes with maturity and wisdom, I think. Being able to let things go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose your battles. And yeah. I just find... Oh, that's what another question I wanted to ask you, because you have two hats, right? You're personally striving for just levels up here.
Yeah.
And you're spending a lot of your time teaching others how to compete. What's more fulfilling or satisfying? Your personal wins or watching somebody else take your advice, do the work?
You know what? My wife and I didn't get any kids. And it wasn't that we planned it that way. Just life worked out that way. We didn't get any. And this is one of them scenarios where it's all these kids we coach, they're my kids. They're Janelle's kids. They're in a way, it's our piece of us we got to put out amongst them that won't die. And to this day, like we have people come back to us that were kids that work for us, kids that I've had on teams from all over the country. This happens to us. They come up and thank us or visit us when they're in town and come see us and thank us for the things we taught them in order to get where they got. So I think that is probably, I almost want to say more rewarding, but I think it's really our job in life that we were supposed to have done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It all fills up your plate, right?
Yeah.
So each thing has a different taste or different meaning, but I just think that's really interesting because I just love the fact that you're a player coach, for lack of a better term.
You know what? I think you'd mentioned that earlier, and I was going to say something and got off track. I think the being player coach thing has been what has kept me relevant. I always found it hard to even listen to when I hear people talk about, well, when I was your age. Yeah, but you're nobody now, so you don't know anything. And that's the kid's feeling too when he's hearing this being said to him. You don't know anything. What the hell do you know? It's not like that anymore. And they can't do that to me because I'm still relevant with them. I'm still relevant with them and still on an international elite level with them. So I think that's really been a feather in our cap on that to stay relevant, to do that. And which is also part of the reason you asked me earlier about the renovation, what made us decide to do that. And again, that was just part of staying relevant in the business we were in.
But I think you're teaching people I don't want to say you're OG, right? But you're teaching people that it's a lifestyle and it's a commitment. It's not a day. It's not a fancy app that you can buy and all that stuff. It's putting in like yours is a sport or a lifestyle that you really can't hack. You can fine tune it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But without, a lot of people are like, I just want the shortcut. What's the magic supplement or what diet do I do? The keto or something that would make me. No, dude, you can do all that stuff. That's all important, but you have to do that and you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And it's really, that's what I really like about bodybuilding and just overall fitness. You can tell sometimes I feel like I have the body of an athlete or at least a former athlete. So what's the next chapter of Brown's Gym, of Jim and Janelle's dynamic duo? The reason I asked that question is you said about, do I get that lease and extend it out? Do I invest and redo the gym to where I want it to that next level? And it puts you at 70. One of the things we deal with here is people transitioning, helping them with their businesses, but also transitioning out. Sometimes it's to a family member, a third party, or maybe it's to some people inside the company. But the most challenging thing for someone to go through along that process is what's on the other side of that.
And I've had this thought. This thought is with me 100% of the time. We didn't get any kids. So it's not an easy, I don't have the ability to pass it on to anybody. I don't have any family members that are interested in what I do. All my family, all my brothers all have businesses of their own. They don't even come close to correlating with what I do. So I don't have anybody natural to give it to. So I'm in a position like, do I set it up one day to get it to the point where I can sell it to somebody who will run it the direction I wanted it to go? And then there's a whole other problem with that. I built it to a size that price-wise, you're going to be in a very tiny market of people that can borrow that much money to pay what I would need to have for it. So I find myself in a position where I know what I've done to myself by that, to where I have to almost go way in real deep to make it something another franchise would want to pick up. Because that's the only type of company going to be able to pay what I would need to get to buy that from me. That's every day I'm strategizing on where does this go next? How do I do this to get it to that point? Because I know I'm beyond a single buyer. I know I'm beyond a single person. You know?
Yeah. It's a fun journey, isn't it?
Here's the other problem too. Like the price I'm at, if you find somebody who's a single buyer who has enough money to buy what I do for a living, they're smart enough to not use their money to do that.
See, that's where I would jump in, because I think there's a lot of, if you strictly think about traditional options, I think you're 100% correct. But I think there's other ways to make this financing available for the right people. If they have the right team and backing behind them. So I think there are ways that might open up.
Yeah, but you can see like that avenue minimizes the number of people available to do that. Yeah.
You're like the most elite. You're in the top 1% of the world in what you do. Right. So doesn't that open your mind to anything could be possible, even if the margins are small?
There's a certain amount of reality to it. You still got to put back in.
Okay. I don't like reality.
I try to ignore it most of the time. My wife is sure I'm ignoring it all the time. But
it's a tough walk. It's not just making sure you extract the right value out of your business. You've sunk your life, literally the years of your life into that. That was a commitment there. But it's also on the other side. If you don't, I see somebody go through this process, and it sounds like you've already thought your way at least to that concept, whether or not you found solutions.
I have not, but yeah.
Yeah, like it's, hey, I've done this. Is what I do. This is muscle memory. And like all of a sudden on Monday, I don't do anything. And I always used to laugh when I talk to a retired client and they're like, oh, I can't meet you on Tuesday because I'm getting my hair done. Like all day?
Yeah.
Like the whole day. But they like to space out things. On this day, I have this thing. On next day, I have and that scares the heck out of me.
I get bored way too easy
my
for
God,
this.
Yeah.
That scares the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So even myself, I wonder at someday when I'm not doing this, what am I doing? And I don't like that. I don't even like to think about that.
I think my wife would be afraid if I'd retire because she knows exactly what I'm going to do.
Drive her nuts.
No, I'm going to go outside and build a race car in a garage.
Oh, is that right?
I would have a garage with them.
There's
Let's go racing.
the
I
bucket
like
list.
racing better than lifting.
Any word like words of advice for somebody, let's say for somebody who's just starting a business, just starting to manage, like juggling a bunch of things in their life right now, and they're stressed. At that point you were years ago, where you're trying to be a husband, you're trying to run this business, you have families and friends that you're trying to be true to as well. Like any big things or overarching themes that you'd like to drop some knowledge?
Yeah, don't give up. Realize quickly when something is not working, even if it's the traditional way of doing it. Don't be afraid to abandon it to try something else because you're afraid of making a mistake. I think sticking to things that weren't working too long was probably the biggest mistakes I ever made in business.
Like being stubborn, you mean?
No, like even like I had when I opened up the gym, I opened up with no aerobics in it. It was strictly exactly what I am right now, just on a smaller basis of it. And I watched all these other gyms opening, which I didn't listen to Frank Peffer, and they all have aerobics programs. And so I get my chance to get out of the Lisa mat, go to another location, get a bigger place, and I put aerobics in. And yeah, I grow like crazy, but I'm not making any more money. Some aspects I'm making less. And I put the aerobics in 1996, December 1996. And January 1st, 2015, I dumped it. So for 19 years, I hung on to this program. And I knew the cost. I'm looking at it. It's costing me $1,200 a year per person taking the aerobics. They're paying me $450.
That's bad math.
There is no man on this planet that wants 800 women mad at him at the same time. And it took me a long time to summon up enough courage, but I hung on to it so long that it ate into my personal finances so bad that I finally got to a point where I financially can't survive you people here anymore. But that's what I had to do. And then after I dumped that program, we started to level out, getting neutral on cost income, but I'm still not getting paid. And it took me several years after that to recover from that personally, financially, to start getting paychecks again. So I think my advice would be like, don't be afraid to, if it isn't making money on it, shut it down, move to something else.
Yeah.
Evolve the business to something else. And if you don't like that aspect of the business, really evolve quickly and get out of it.
Yeah. I have a different question.
Yeah.
If you were to give someone advice who has been focusing so much on their business and has put their health and fitness on the back burner.
Completely understandable, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me what advice you would give to them.
I don't know, because even with owning a gym, I've had myself in positions where I had to do that. So last fall, when I was doing renovations, I was doing a lot of that work myself.
Oh, I know. I saw you.
I didn't touch a weight for, I don't know, 16, 18 weeks. I didn't touch a weight.
Wow.
Yeah, but he was walking around with 125
Oh, God, yeah.
horsemen,
Well, yeah.
like multiple. He's just carrying them around.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this man? Yeah.
I lost about 18 pounds doing it.
Wow.
during that time.
They're
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
No, I saw you there.
Yeah, they're 135 pounds a piece, those little miserable buggers are.
I know. People were talking about it. People were talking
And
about
you
how
cut
heavy they
them
were.
with a razor blade. It's the only way to cut them.
Wait, what is this that we're
The
cutting?
horse
The
stall
rubber
mats.
mats, the horse stall mats.
Oh, really?
You cut them
They
with a
weigh that
razor
much?
blade. Yeah, they're 135 pounds
Yeah,
a piece.
they're big.
Wow, okay.
And they're like handling a giant wet snake.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your advice would be,
There are points in your life and business when you're starting out or trying to evolve it to something else where you're going to find yourself in those positions. I don't have time for my personal well-being. Yep, you're going to have to do it. I
Yeah.
don't know any other way around it. But the moment you can get out of that position and you get things, you finally got the light at the end of the tunnel. When you finally got to the light, get back to take care of yourself ASAP, because you're still, unfortunately, if you're a business owner, you are the most important part of the business. Without you, no other part of it exists. Just watch companies where the owner dies. The business dies shortly after. It runs downhill. It's not an egotistical thing. You are the most important part of it. So you have to take care of
you have
yourself.
to take care of your biggest asset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say just to start small wherever you can, little bits, or it's just something
Oh, you mean
larger
on the
that has
fitness
to
part
be-
of it?
Yeah.
I would say that would depend on what your fitness level was to begin with. If you weren't working out before you started this thing that got you so involved where you weren't taking care of your own health, you're not going to start big to begin with. So I got done with that time where I wasn't training at all while we were doing renovations, went straight into training for a national championship. The rest of the world's not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've done this enough times where I took time off to go do things that I knew how to get back. I knew what my weaknesses were going into it already. I knew what I had already set a plan. You called reverse engineering before, that I reverse engineered a plan of what I needed to do to win nationals, but not to be the best I could be. I didn't need to be the best I knew how to be. I just needed to be the best I could be to win nationals and qualify for the world championships.
Okay.
I will say the last thing I want to say is I'm sure you can relate to this, and I know you can too. I have never had a time where I've gone into the gym and walked out feeling worse.
Yes.
So that's what
Yeah.
I
But
always
the
tell
hardest
myself.
part of all workouts, and I've told people this for decades, hardest part of every single workout ever is getting to the gym. The moment you go through the doors,
You go through
it's pretty much all good.
Yeah.
But that taking that time to make the drive to get to the gym, hardest part.
I just had this conversation. I don't know. I'm sure everybody's seen this video. It's a really good video where a teacher walks into a classroom and he's got like this big jar and he starts putting things in. Is there
Yes.
more room? And
Yeah.
he fills it with everything.
Fills with marbles and sand
Yeah,
and
right,
water.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then he has a beer.
Yeah.
There's always time for a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's to your point, whether you're running a business, you're shafting yourself on your physical well-being.
Yeah.
We all run our own businesses, and we know that when we're physically feeling good, probably our business is doing better.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really hard to understand. But to go to the gym, I have to take time away from my business. But you're going to spend more quality hours on your business if your body and your mind are feeling well.
Agreed.
And trust me, I get out of that groove a lot, and I have to mentally just talk myself back into it. But that's what I always tell myself.
Yeah.
Put the big rocks in that thing first. So
Yeah.
on my calendar, I have gym.
Oh, I put
Gym.
I block my calendar.
And there's days where I rob myself of that. Something
Mhm.
comes up, there's a fire to
Mhm.
put out or a responsibility, you get it done, but you go back as soon as you can. Because I always say, like, when you're off, when you need to start training, the first day at the gym is always the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's just starts getting easier from that.
Advice for somebody who's just opening up a new business. I remember years ago, and I told you about Al Marahovich and the business coach thing. And so at that time, at the time I'm talking about now, Al and I got a pretty good relationship, and we were both sure the same business coach. I call Al up, and I'm watching the employees, and nobody's doing anything the way it was supposed to be done, at least not to my expectations, all right? And I call Al up about what's going on. And he stands there and he listens to me. He says, Jimmy, when is the last time you took a day, went to work, but did absolutely nothing, just stood there and watched? And my immediate reaction is, because I just got done bitching about everybody, said, Al, are you crazy? The place will fall down. Are you kidding me? Jimmy, this is your fault then. Now I want to kill him. He's turned this on me, right? I said, what do you mean this is my fault? He says, you obviously did not put systems in place enough to get things to run on their own without you.
Yeah.
Hate talking to Al. He's always got all kinds of weird advice that I'm not gonna... And I did that. I did it the very next day. Surprising part is the place did not fall down. But I just took that time and I stood back and I just watched where there was little bottlenecks and things and why this wasn't getting done, but they're all tied up over here doing something that was an inefficiency over here. And you go back to work fixing those inefficiencies to unbottleneck stuff to get these other things done correctly or done that you weren't able to get done. So I would say in business, if you're having struggles like that, take the day, step back, do nothing, observe, write them down, develop systems on how to take out that bottleneck that's going on. When that's done, go do it again. And you just keep doing that till you get the business to where it can run by itself. Because if you build a business that's dependent on you to be there, you're a slave. There's no freedom in that. And thank God Al told me that, because I would have never figured it out. I was not smart enough to do it on my own.
Yeah. I mean, you're still an employee. You're not really an owner.
Yeah.
Of the business. So ownership and leadership, and to get the real value of your business at some point in time, you need to make yourself obsolete.
Right.
Not obsolete, but just
Unimportant to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here you talk about, I want to be relevant
Yeah.
every day. I want to figure out what, but it can't be your business, because that drops the
You
value.
can't be a tool in the business.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be the owner of the toolbox. You can't be a tool in it.
That's right.
I've had a blast
I
talking to you.
know.
Me too. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it.
So interesting.
So I really appreciate it, brother.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you so much for
Thanks,
coming
Jim.
in.
Oh,
I'm
I'll
not
see
that
you.
cool.
I'll see you down at the gym.
I'll see you then. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Jim. That's a wrap on today's episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Thank you for listening. If this conversation sparked something for you, please let us know. Follow, share, or leave a review. It helps us keep having the conversations we love that you love to listen to. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more real talk from real leaders. Until then, here's to feeling successful beyond the bottom line.